Welcome. I'm Dr. Bart Rademaker, Prescription for Your Transformation, and hashtag Real People, hashtag Real Conversations. And today is exciting because we quickly put this interview together. My purpose is really to get at least 3 interviews a week, and then also a radio interview on Thursdays. And I'm delighted to be able to bring all sorts of different people to this platform because it's really all about new voices, new solutions. What are some of the voices that we really need to hear so that we can be part of the changes that we actually desire to have in our life and in the world? And by bringing all these different voices, then you can start making new choices for yourself. And I'm very excited to be talking to this delightful lady I met a couple of months ago, and then once again last month in LA, because she has a drive and a passion that's really very exciting, and it's captivating too. And it's Kathy Neeson. She comes from Peru. She is what you call a social entrepreneur. I just love that idea, social entrepreneur. And really, it's about her, global change and building communities globally. And her passion, which is also very exciting, her purpose in life, if you will, that's incredibly exciting, is really to help people ignite their purpose, to living their purpose in life. And I've never heard of it that way, but that is so awesome. So, Kathy, welcome to the Blab today.
Thank you so much, Bart. It's a pleasure to be here having a conversation with you.
Yeah, thank you. And so tell us a little bit about this concept of community building, because I'm very fascinated by that. And, you and I have talked quite a bit, but what is that really all about?
So for me, community building is a way of living. I've always done it. I did it at school when I was young. It came naturally to me. I did it in my neighborhood. I was the leader of a big group of kids, both at school and at home. And then when I had to come to the US, I came by myself. I had no family. I was all alone in Rolla, Missouri. And I decided to put my skills on work and make friends. And then I noticed I was really good at it.
So now you've really made a business or a professional out of it. And so give me an example of a community that you've done either recently or in the years past that you'd like to share.
I love working with grassroots and nonprofit organizations, maybe because it's a combination of people with a big social driver. So I'm passionate about grassroots organizations, and examples I have so many. I've worked with churches of different denominations. I work with many nonprofits in the area of relationships, politics, religion also. Even though I don't profess their religion, it's important for them, and I help them build the platforms. So whatever is their message, whatever is their passion, they can have people alike and share between of them and grow their community. Lately, I decided to bring all my skills from the real world to social media, and I started a page also. It's in Spanish, and it was just an experiment, and it's pretty much the same thing. So I'm also having fun with social media right now.
So is there a particular example that you can share with us so that we can understand how this community building works?
Absolutely. Let me tell you about my own community. We're going to call it PCP, which really means Preguntas con Propósito. It's in Spanish.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's the best way in which I can describe how building community happens. I have a big passion of igniting people's purpose. I want to align each individual to their own personal dreams, because it's through fulfilling your dreams that you find your personal purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I decided that I wanted to do this at a global scale. And social media was the best way to do it. I had to analyze which was the best way to do it, and that was my conclusion. I started a page through a radio show. I had the radio show first, and then I opened the social media page. We had 400 people at the beginning, and in my heart, I felt like to make it global, I needed to have 100,000 followers. That was July last year. I know it sounds impossible from 400 followers, which were mainly my family and friends, to get it to 100,000. But that's exactly what I do. I bring big, immense dreams happen through community building. So I started engaging people one by one, friends of friends, friends of friends of friends. Suddenly people started getting into my page. I blogged every single day. I created beautiful images to share. And in 4 months, we got to our goal of 100,000 followers.
Wow.
Yes.
That's impressive.
Yes.
From 400 to 100,000 in 4 months?
Yes, in 4 exact months. So there's a lot of little details that happen in community building. And I wish we would have all the time in the world to tell you how I do it. And that's one of my passions too, to talk about that. So we can go either way. I can tell you the small details, or
give us some small details. That's exciting. That's impressive.
For me, when building community, it's all about what the people need. Mm-hmm. So first, I want to bring people that are alike. You know, my biggest goal with community, I had to get clarity, was to ignite people to follow their dreams, as I said, and through their dreams, be aware of what was their purpose in life. So I created lots of original content in regards to dreaming, global dreaming, community, purpose, aligning yourself with what you really wanted, and things like that. So through that message, I welcome people to come to my page. So from the get-go, I was very selective of the people that I would bring.
Right.
Whoever didn't believe on my cause wasn't gonna come. So that was the way in which I started. Then I observed who were my biggest participants. You know, who was the people that I really touched on a deep level, because they came and participated. And I started interacting with them one-on-one and giving them feedback. Really, it was like a coaching experience. You know, you kind of need to coach your community. You have to engage one-on-one with them. You have to let them know how important they are to you, and they were really important to me and my cause. After that, the community just grew. You know, we got to our first 1,000, and I kept on doing that. It grew to the 10,000, and I just kept interacting every single day, creating more content. From my page, I started having conversations with people that were as passionate as I was, and I started hiring them also. So they started developing content voluntarily for us.
Right.
And that's how we grow. That's how you community.
So you're not actually specifically interacting with 100,000 people yourself, are you? Individually?
So at this point, no, because you can't. But I interact as often as I can, and I'm in the page every single day, leaving my mark, you know, talking to them. And it's true. When I'm not interacting in the page, if you see my numbers, they go down. They don't go dramatically down, because now the page is interactive by itself. But the community really feels your absence, and my numbers tell me that. And
so consistently, how many people are on your page, if you will, every day?
150,000 a week, more or less.
Wow.
Not everybody leaves comments, but a lot of people share. That's something else that I observed. Before, for community building, it would be you sharing your message in person and people would hear you. Now it's people hearing your message and sharing it.
Right.
Now I don't know, I've never counted how many people I have, like writing literally in my page, maybe maybe 50 different people or 100. It varies. Sometimes it's 400, sometimes it's 1,000. It really depends on the message of the day. Yeah, but there have been days in which I responded personally to 100 people.
Well, that's excellent. So maybe we should get that, 100,000 on a Blab platform. What do you think?
I do that with my people in my page. Yeah,
That's
it's in
excellent.
Spanish though. So whenever you want to talk in Spanish, we can definitely do that.
Oh, so all of these people are Spanish speaking. Okay, cool. Yeah. Bueno, seguramente eso podemos hacer, ¿no?
Excelente.
Excelente.
Mm-hmm.
This is actually quite wonderful. And of course, it takes a Latina, if you will, to think of something like this, because I was very fortunate. I grew up in Mexico and I lived there for about 8 years when I was very young. And what I love about that country so much and all the Latin cultures really is the importance of family and the importance of community. And what's interesting, if you look also from a global perspective and more of the developed Western countries, if you will, not to say that all these Latin countries are not, but the more of the European type, what's interesting is that there seems to be this dissolution of the family, a disconnect. And I think a lot of people are really lost. And so by being able to create this community in a platform we're using social media, I think is absolutely brilliant, because we always do so much better, when we are connected with other people. We do so much better when we know that we're not alone. And we also do so much better when people around us give us the support, give us the love, and in insights, if you will, too, as to perhaps some of the challenges that we're dealing with. And so community is big.
Yeah, I totally agree. And you mentioned something very important, which is family. And family it's like the core of community. And even before family, I think it's partnership between two people. And I'm not talking partnership in the sense of marriage necessarily, but in the sense of one believing on another, to either have kids eventually and have a family and participating actively in community. But to me, family, it's like partnership. Partnership, it's the core. Two people, it's the core of everything on community.
It really is. And what's interesting is I'm also part of a conscious leadership mastermind group with some absolutely brilliant people. And what's interesting is that in the conversations that we have, we've also discussed this concept of when you have a group of people working together, it creates what we call a generative field. So generative in the sense that it's a creative field, it's a positive field. And by having this collaboration energetically, intellectually, emotionally all together, we can create more. And one of the things that we do in this particular mastermind group, it is really all about modeling success. Why would we try to invent the wheel all the time when all we need to do is, see what somebody else has done successfully. And when we model genius, for example, and we look at people like Branson, look at Disney, look at Einstein, what's consistently present is the support around these people to get the success that they can have. Because at the end of the day, you can't do everything yourself. And that's my personal experience right now that I'm single again, and I have a new model for running my business as well as a plastic surgeon. And right now, I'm pretty much doing everything on my own. My only community right now, actually, is through social media. And so spiritually, energetically, emotionally, and intellectually, it's very, very wonderful, but there is a big gap. And so it's exciting, though, that what you're able to do, because creating this 100,000 community, just imagine the possibility, as well as sharing important information.
Yeah, and how can I explain this? But to be able to give something to them and then receive from them, it's amazing. As I told you, now we're actually not in 100,000, we're over 200,000 right now, going for the million
Amazing.
in June, and that's the goal. Having people from that community come and offer content, offer design, offer participation, and the monitoring itself. It's amazing. I could not sustain 200,000 people in this page if it weren't because of them.
Right.
You know, and 1 + 1, it's not 2 when you're creating community. Sometimes 1 + 1 is 100, sometimes it's 100,000. It takes one creative mind with another creative mind to really explode something, ignite global change, ignite action toward causes that are important. And causes and community, they all come from a very deep sense of knowing yourself. That's why it's so important for me that people know who they are, what their truths are, what their skills are, what their purpose is. There's only one purpose per person, you know, and there's one life to live.
Yeah, it's interesting because, you know, the way that I like to explain it to people, and the reason for my platform, similar to yours, but in a different approach, but it's really about bringing new voices, because we don't know what we don't know. And do you want to be that accidental tourist in your own life that bumps into great and wonderful, magical and adventures? Or do you want to be that purposeful guide that's bringing you to the life that is by your design?
Yes.
And so, you know, what's interesting is that as far as what my platform is concerned, is simply this, is that no longer, because it's all the technology that we have today, and because of the ability to communicate. I mean, we can communicate with anybody anywhere in the world, even just with a cell phone. With a cell phone today, a smart cell phone today, there's so much that you can do that you couldn't do 10 years ago.
Right.
And so here it's really all about finding out exactly as you say, what is your identity? Because once you're clear about who you are, then what that then creates, as I put it, is your own independence. You are no longer dependent to somebody else's program, to somebody else's word, to somebody else's control, if you will, because we all do have that free will. But oftentimes we just don't know what we don't know and what we need to know. And so once you have that independence, starting off from having that identity, then you get into that space, what I believe is there, and that's what I call generative collaboration, where we as a larger community, not knowing the other person perhaps, but we can generatively collaborate and create global change, as you talk about, and make this world a better place.
Yes.
And when enough people are involved with that, you know, what's also happening, it's really also about your and what I call the individual revolution, so that we no longer have to depend on the larger institutions or governments, you know, telling us what to do, telling us how to behave, telling us what we can drink or eat or not, where we find our own independence. And the only way to do that is by actions like yours, creating this community where people can dive in, tap into, hear new voices, and then start making new decisions for themselves.
Yeah, and you tapped into something very important, you know, first knowing yourself as an individual, and then not depending on bigger systems that, I mean, government, it's supposed to help people achieve and protect people, you know, but right now government is what tells us what to do, instead of us telling government what we want and what we need, and make sure that we are heard. So that's why I love grassroots, you know, when the masses are fed up, they need a change. But that change can only happen through organization. And the very first organization, it's one really well-built community, which is why I want to do with education.
Right.
You know, education, it's the thing that I don't know, I feel it in my skin, inside of my skin, in my heart, like my guts revolve about education. So I know that this, for me, this stage, it's a preparation to organize people to talk about our educational needs, the educational needs that our kids have. You know, I truly believe in the saying that says education is power, because it is.
You know, it's interesting. I've been very blessed with some great education over the years, and you know, personal story. When I lived in Mexico, I have two older brothers, and the funny thing is, my mom was a very socially and a very, very social, very cultured, very sophisticated lady, and she wanted us to be educated, right? And so my two older brothers were educated in art and music, but they hated it. They fought against it, and by the end of that my mom, being a smart lady, decided, well, failed in the music, failed in the art, so let's teach the last son, you know, languages. And so when we lived in Mexico, I actually went to three schools at the same time. A Mexican school in the morning, or actually, right, a English school in the morning, Mexican school in the afternoon, and a French school at night. And I've always understood that education is the key. And unfortunately, in most countries, that's the first thing that goes when the economy is in a downturn. And it really should be the first thing that gets ignited all the time, because with the right education, with the right tools, with the right mindset, with the right psychology, you know, we will be able to make massive change in a very positive direction. But when people don't have that education, then it's a problem. And you know, this is not a political forum, and I just want to make that very, very clear, because all my platforms are just non-religious, non-political, and not about sex or anything like that. But one thing that I do know is that when we don't have that identity, when we don't have the power to make smart choices, guess what? We're very dependent on what other people can do for us, and
Yes.
that's not a good place to be. And so I love what you're doing as far as, you know, building these communities, educating them, and helping the children, you know, get more insights. And that's awesome. I have to commend you for that.
Thank you. And you know, something very interesting that I found out through the analytics in my page is that our biggest followers, now remember, this is about finding and acting on your dreams so you can become aware of your purpose. The biggest population, 75% of the population in my page, are kids from 13 to 18.
Awesome. What I can't wait to be on your platform talking in Spanish and connecting with a bunch of kids.
Well, we need to schedule it for sure.
Absolutely. Well, I'm Dr. Bart Rademaker, Prescription for Your Transformation. I have a radio show. Also recently came out with a book, 52-Week Success Plan. And this platform is about new voices, new solutions. And it's hashtag real people, hashtag real conversations. Delighted to be talking to this Spitfire from Peru, who's actually going to make some massive changes worldwide. And I'm really excited and honored to have met you and be part of anything that I can do for your mission, for your dream, for your purpose in life, because I think it's great. And I know that you and I are going to be doing a lot more together. I know I'm going to bring you back on this platform again in the future so that people can continue to hear the progress that you're making and really invite them to be part of what it is that you do. So if somebody wants to find you, Kathy, how would they find you?
I'm working on my personal page. I used to do everything hidden. I didn't want my face to be there, but you can find me through kathynissen.com.
Okay.
I hope my page is up already. It was going to be up this week. And if not, you can find me in Room for Leadership. I'll type it out right here. roomforleadership.org.
All right. And did I spell your name correctly there? kathynissen.com?
Yes. And my page in Spanish is Preguntas con Propósito. And you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest.
Great. And then, of course, my website, which I'm going to start promoting you. Let's see. And then I'll have to get you on my website because I think what you're doing is absolutely phenomenal. So once again, I'm Dr. Rademaker talking to Kathy Neeson, Spitfire from Peru, living in Silicon Valley, doing some incredible things with community and global change and helping the world be a better place. So thank you so much, Kathy.
Thank you.
You're welcome.